Well, good morning. Hope you're doing fine. Thank you, BXC, for having me here. Am I loud enough? Yeah? Maybe like this? Yeah, a bit louder? Okay, I'll do my best. I had the bronchitis last week, so my voice is not too good. We were discussing together the Chong Mai. Not all the points, that's impossible. It's when we do all the points, it's a 2-day course. So I try to make a kind of compromise to myself to say, okay, I'll skip that one, I'll take that one in. So we'll do our best to do as much as we can. When there are questions during the course, then please raise your hand and speak out loud. I'm open for questions, not many, of course, otherwise we're just answering only questions, but if there are questions at that very moment if necessary, then I will answer that, okay? And after the break, I will start again for the people who are there. Are there any questions about the first part? Originally, I'm from Holland, so English is not my native language, so sometimes I have to search for certain words, or I hope you excuse me for that. And also, when you speak English, I have to be very careful to listen to all what it means. So. Okay, let's go on. You see here lots of names of Chong Mai, and this is because the word Chong is very, very difficult to translate. So what we're going to do is to see the background of these words, because you have probably heard all of these words for Chong Mai. Now, I will start with something which is related to Chong Mai. This is from Joan. When there is no more separation between this and that, it's called the still point of Tao. And so it means that the moment we talk about yin and yang, or we talk about opposition, there is conflict. The moment we talk about inside, outside, higher or down, we talk about a conflict. The higher self, the inner self is a conflict. So the moment there's no more separation of these two, there is this still point of Tao. At the still point in the center of the circle, one can see the infinite in all things. And this seems very difficult to conquer, or to come to that point of still point. It's like something beyond us, we think, isn't it? But it isn't. The still point where there is no conflict between inside, outside, or up and down, is at this very moment. The moment you are in the moment, there is no conflict. The moment we think about what was before, or what will be in the future, or when we think about structure, and we will talk about the structure of the meridian, we have a concept, and there's always another concept. And so we have this and that. And Chong Mai, the power of Chong Mai, and this is why I start with this, is that it is the bridge between what was before and what will be after, but that bridge is in this very moment. So the moment we think about treating Chong Mai, especially Chong Mai, is of course with all the meridians, but especially Chong Mai, you have to be in the moment. Your intent, your intention, your awareness has to be there with your needling. That is the secret of all the meridians, but specifically the Chong Mai. Now, in history, we go quickly through the history. You see here Wang Shu He. He wrote a book, My Jing, it's about the pulses. He already spoke about pulses related to Chong Mai and all the other extra meridians. Li Shichen actually used that. But that's only at that time. He used the pulses of the Mai Jing, and in between, not many things happened, to be honest. Before the Ming Dynasty, it was not so popular to work with the extra meridians. They didn't want to change the Ming, the destiny of a person. They didn't want to work on the essential qi. That was actually dangerous. They work with herbs mainly because acupuncture was painful and you don't do that with people. So they didn't talk so much about the extra meridians. And at this time, with this book, and that is the 17th century, it's around this time, they found out the open points of the extra meridians. Before that time, they didn't talk so much about open points and couple points. Before that time, when they spoke about the extra meridians, it was just these points were on the meridian, and you had a special way to needle that and to direct the energy to a certain area you wanted. Yeah? And that still is possible. So a lot of people are trained like you open chong mai, like spleen 4 and period 6 on the other side, you open chong mai, and that's it. That's not the classical way. The classical way is spleen 4, and maybe you do period 6 to open the full activity of chong mai, but also to direct the energy to a certain area, or the abdomen, or the chest, or whatever you need it. Yeah? So, what we learn usually in colleges about opening points and couple points is actually from a very late date. And Li Zhishen also described it in his books, and also about the meridian trajectory, that's a difficult word for me. He described precisely. And we're not talking about it, but like the meridians Yang Wei Mai and Yin Wei Mai actually are not described in the classics. They are not described. So there's a lot of history of the extra meridians. But maybe it's good to talk about this. In the Ming Dynasty, they were very much interested in kidney yin. Because in the Ming Dynasty, there was the idea of that everybody actually is too much yang in character. There was too much yang, kidney yang activity. So they were very intrigued by kidney yin and the jing to keep the energy down, more balanced. This is why in the Ming Dynasty, they started to think and talk and discuss the extra meridians. Now, we all are familiar with the jing. And I'm not going to repeat what is on this board now. You can read that. But I do want to say a few things about the jing. Because the jing is something which is in the kidneys, as you know. And it's given to you by, hang on, if you want to make pictures, that's okay, it's no problem. But if you want the handout, just send me an email, I will send you a PDF. Yeah? My email will be at the end again, so I will happy to send it to you. If you want to, you can also make pictures. The jing is something which is given to you by your parents. So the jing of the father, jing of the mother come together, and that moment of conception, there is the jing. Leon Hammer often said, also to me, is that the jing is where the divine love actually is housed. We always say love has to do with the heart, but that's the expression. The way we express love is through the heart. But love as such is stored in the jing. And love not as limited love, even not as unconditional love. Love as the creativity of qi. That jing of the father and mother come together, and that creativity, that moment of creativity is in ourselves. And when you look at that, then through our jing, we actually are related to the history of humanity. In ourselves, in all of us, is mankind. When you think about that. Our jing is the bridge to mankind. Because all the jing of all the people come together in you as a person, in me as a person, all of us. Yeah? So the essence is not only your essence, it's the essence of mankind. By love. It comes through love. And love as such is not something which is something in time, because when we think in time, when we think about the past, it's actually dead. It's already gone. And we think about the future, it has to come. So we look to something we don't know if it even will happen. Only at this very moment, as I was talking about chong mai, there is also a possibility of love, because love is not related to time as such. So whenever you think, I want to start a business, or I want to change something, or I want to eat better, I want to stop drinking, whatever, that's future, history. Do it now. That's chong mai. That is jing. That is love. Yeah? So being in that moment is very important to contact the jing. We talk about pre and post heavenly qi, especially the pre and post heavenly jing qi. The pre heavenly jing qi is the qi, as is stated here, supplies the material for creation of a new life, together with the po, together with the earth, the form. So the moment of conception, there is jing, there is the beginning of shen, it's called yuan shen, and yuan jing, and there is the po to make a form, and the earth to give it a body. That is to renew life. So the moment we have a wound in our body, or your teeth is it's taken out, or something like that, then the jing, the prenatal jing, knows how to bring it back to how it should be, how it fits into you as a being. That's your prenatal qi. There is the framework of your being. So whenever you want to work on scars or on wounds, or you have to work through the prenatal jing. And how we do that, hopefully we'll talk about that. And the post-heaven is to nourish the body, we know that. So the way we eat, the way we think, the way we talk, the way we communicate, that is related to the post-heavenly jing qi. And the chong mai is the bridge between these two. Yeah, so the prenatal jing qi, as it is, can become postnatal through the chong mai. And this is the moving quality of chong mai, the thrusting quality, the penetrating quality. It moves through the meridians, through the tissues, through everything you are as a being, to the postnatal qi, to make it postnatal. So whenever you work on chong mai, you have to have in the back of your mind that you bring prenatal jing qi to postnatal jing qi. And that, are you aware of that? Because a lot of people use chong mai just symptomatically. There's a lack of qi, use chong mai. But that means that you work on that bridge from prenatal to postnatal, from creativity to nourishment and nurturing. Yeah. So in general, maybe one more thing about this. The first 3 months of pregnancy are very special. Your yuan qi actually starts from the 3rd month on, not from the beginning. The 2nd month of pregnancy, it is the jing qi which envelops you as a being and gives you a form. And during the 3rd month of pregnancy, then your own yuan qi starts to develop in a way that it provides you with the original qi. So it means that, especially in the beginning when there's any trauma of the mother, because the mother takes care of you in the first 3 months, because there is no yuan qi. If something happens the first 3 months of pregnancy, like an emotional trauma, or an accident, or a divorce, or that happens even after 3 months or before 3 months pregnancy, things like that, that will have effect on the child, and especially the chong mai. Yeah? Because it's not protected enough against these kind of traumas. The treatment principle of chong mai matches the pulse, so you need to know the quality of the pulse, and that's not easy to explain, but I will try and do my best. The classic pulse for chong mai issue, when you take the pulse with 3 fingers and you go down and you divide the pulse in 3 levels, the top level, if all the pulses on the top level are very active, then the du mai is very active. If all the pulses of the middle position are very active on both sides, the ren mai is very active. And when you go to the bottom, to the root of the pulse, and you find a lot of activity there, then the chong mai is active. And the opposite is as well. If all the pulses on the surface are very insufficient, all of them, it means a du mai problem. And so when all the pulses in the depth, in the root of your pulse, are insufficient, you know there is an insufficiency of chong mai. And that's a deep problem. There are also descriptions, like Dr. Van Buren taught me, that there is a kind of sucking pulse, a yielding sucking pulse on the liver position that leads to chong mai. But that's very difficult to explain, and you have to feel it with a teacher with you to say, this is a sucking pulse, this is chong mai. So in practice, it works easier when you follow these rules. So if you don't find that, and people say, well, okay, there's a lack of yin qi, there's a lack of root, I want to use chong mai, without this pulse, so what actually are you doing? Yeah? Match the pathology and symptoms. And this is very much the classic of chong mai, is that when you use chong mai, for instance, there is a breathing problem, or abdominal problems, or back pain, or there are problems around the mouth, then you can use chong mai sometimes, but you do, for instance, spleen 4, and you add a certain point in that direction of the pathology, so that the chong mai goes there. And the needle technique I will talk about later. So it matches the treatment principle and has tenderness along the trajectory. That is classical, but it's not always possible, because part of chong mai is very deep. We'll see that in a minute or two. You will see that the trajectory of chong mai is not always palpable. So that's in brackets. So, first of all, you need to know that you work on the essence, on the constitutional qi, and it has to be chronic. Acute diseases hardly ever you treat with chong mai. Only when there is what they say, how do they say it? Like a running piglet, they call it. It's the unrooted energy, and it is within the chong mai, or when there is perverse energy in chong mai, they can be called in chong mai, then that could be an acute problem, then you could treat that. But all the other cases, usually you have to only work on it when it is a chronic issue. And you have to have patience, because the chong mai is something which provides you with energy on the long term. It's not something you say, okay, this is now, and this is the result. Even Dr. Van Buren said often to me, when you use an extra meridian in a proper way, don't treat that again in 3 months, before the 3 months are gone, not in between. So after 3 months, you can repeat that. But so take just time, see what happens. And you could treat in between, but no extra meridian. Just give it time to develop, because the body is very slow. The changes in the body are not that dramatic quickly done. Usually the spirit, the emotions, the thoughts, they are very quick. But the body itself is very slow. Yeah? So, the needle technique. You could take a few hours to talk about needle technique. But most important in Chong Mai is that it is a deep meridian. So when we treat, like, let's say, points on the kidney meridian, like kidney 12 or 13 or 14, things like that, and you want to work there on Chong Mai, you go a little bit more deep. And you will feel it. When Chong Mai is needed, you go down, you can feel when there is emptiness that you have to go a bit deeper to reach the Chong Mai. And so when you're there are different descriptions how to treat that. Some people say just turn and that's it. Other people say you have to vibrate. And I must say, I tried all kinds of methods. The vibration suits me best. Because the Jing is a kind of vibrational qi. It's a very physical, sound-like qi. Yeah? The classics, they say, the language of heaven is through symbols, through numbers, and through music. And music is the Jing. You can feel that when there is music, you can feel it in your Jing. That's why people like it. Yeah? The Jing is resonating. So when you work on the Chong Mai and you put it inside, it's a little vibration, it's enough. And then you immediately will feel also there is contact. You need to practice that to feel what is the vibration of that person. But when you practice it more often, then you will feel that vibration suits that person, or when you do it slower, maybe that's better for that person. And when the people are older, it will be different when they are younger. And when they are younger, the vibration is much quicker. Yeah, and when they're older, the vibration just fades a bit. So you have to find your rhythm of vibration. But when you do that, then you contact the Chong Mai. And there is another needle technique we will discuss probably after the break, when we will discuss the kidney meridian here on the abdomen with the stomach energy there, which are very related to each other with the Renmai. And what is the direction of needling to bring it from prenatal to postnatal or otherwise. So that's something I will discuss later today. Yeah. Any questions about this before we go into points? Because this was just an introduction. Yes, please.
Do you want to tell us a little bit more about the vibration?
What more do you want to know?
I don't know what you mean.
No, it's like, I don't have a pen here, but it's like when you put a needle inside, this is a bit too big, yeah? So you turn it, yes, maybe that's better. You turn it, you do it in, you turn it, and then it's just a little bit vibration. It's a little vibration like this. You don't, not turning. You go inside, you turn, you make contact, and then you vibrate. So you go a bit deeper and you vibrate. And it depends on, thank you, it depends on the quality of the vibration of that patient. Yeah? And don't forget, that is being in that moment. That, you know, there are so many descriptions about Shen, our Shen. And for many years now, I studied the concept of Shen, which has to do with that needle technique. Shen is something which is not only me or you, but it's something which exists between us. It's an integration of two energies coming together in one. That integration is also when you needle. You integrate with the energy of that person to work with the Jing. Yeah? Okay? Anything else? Okay. We go to first to the opening point and the couple point. We'll discuss that briefly. It's plain for Gong Sun, often translated as grandfather and grandson. Lower point there for sense of pleasure. We'll discuss that later. First of all, I want to talk about this Gong Sun. Gong Sun was also a name of the Chinese emperor. It's not only just grandfather, grandson. It was also another name for the Chinese emperor. And the Chinese emperor was the ambassador of heaven on earth. He was able to change the calendar. No one else could change the calendar. A lot of emperors did, actually. The start of the year sometimes was in February, sometimes even December. So they changed the calendar according to astronomy. Of course, he had advisors. So Gongsun, spleen 4, is the ambassador of heaven, the ambassador of the prenatal chi on earth. So it brings it to the world. It brings the energy of heaven, of the prenatal chi, into the postnatal environment where we live. So Chong Mai, spleen 4, there is no other point who could do that. We could think about the location, but that takes a bit too far. But study for yourself, for instance, the location of spleen 4 and kidney 2 and see the point energetics of these 2 points, and then you will understand more and more why spleen 4 is the opening point of Chong Mai. But first of all, spleen 4 Gongsun often is an energy, is a point which is used together with spleen 1. Yeah? Spleen 1 and 4 work on the kidneys, they say. Spleen 1 is called hidden white. Hidden white, as far as I remember. I don't have it here. No. So hidden white, yin bai. That is a point which is not the white of the pole, of the lungs, but it is what is inside, the yin of the yin. The yin of the yin is your center. So spleen 4 together with spleen 1 work on the kidney. So when you work with spleen 1 and spleen 4 and you use that vibrational technique, or a bit deeper, and you add spleen 1, it means that you ask the Chong Mai to feed the kidney. If you just do spleen 4 and 1, it doesn't work that well. So if there's a chronic case and you do spleen 4, vibrational, spleen 1, then you get this energy of Chong Mai working towards the kidney. Now, the little point there for sends a vessel to stomach 42. Stomach 42 is called Chong Yang. Yeah? So, yang rushing. And this is something which is extremely strange because that pulse on stomach 42 describes the quality of yin compared to stomach 9. Remember? So stomach 9, the quality of stomach 9, the pulse there, is the quality of all the yang in the body, and stomach 42 describes the quality of all the yin, and it's called Chong Yang because it moves the heat and the yang away. It's the exit point. So where does it go to? To the spleen. After the stomach, you have the spleen. So when you do spleen 4 and stomach 42 in general, you balance the earth, you know that. But when you do the vibrational chi, the vibrational technique, it means that you ask the Chong Mai to go through the stomach, take it back to the spleen, even with spleen 1, to bring it back to your center. So when people lose their center, lose their courage, lose their stamina, lose their way they stand, they always walk like that, and they're tired, and there's nothing, and it's chronic, and it's constitutional. That will help to center them, to ground them. Do you understand? So the needle technique is quite important in here. Yeah? Stomach 42 by itself takes away the heat of the stomach. But funny enough, when stomach 42, for instance, is combined with 3 heater 4, which is also, what is the name of it? It's also yang, what is it? Guang, no, that's not one. Pool of yang, yeah. Pool of yang chi. When you work with 3 heater 4 and stomach 42, it improves the quality of Chong Mai and Ren Mai. So you don't always have to work on Chong Mai points to really work on Chong Mai. Giovanni said once to me, whenever you find a point with the name water, it works on water. When you find a name with Chong, it works on Chong. So liver 3, bladder what is it, 3. All these points, they have chong in it, stomach 30. They work on chong. So when you do stomach 42, which is related to spleen 4, and 3 hita 4, which is related to pericut 6, as the coupled point of chongmai, you improve in another way the chongmai and renmai production, or flow of qi. Sanjiao 4. 4. So, working on spleen 4, the energy goes to stomach 42. Spleen 4 is a lure point. A lure point is the relation between yourself and your environment. It has to do, a lot of lure points have to do with emotional problems when you use that. But it has to do with the emotional relationship you have with other people. So when people are completely at ease in their environment and they feel content, they feel strong, there's no reason to open chongmai. But there are reasons sometimes when the emotional, how do you call that, interaction between that person, the self, and the environment is disrupted, then yes, you can use an opening point like spleen 4 with stomach 42. To improve the self-knowledge, to improve the stability and centering of that person. These are just some things you see about spleen 4, and what you see are a lot of symptoms which are related also to chongmai. You will see that a lot of these things come back into chongmai problems because the chongmai, as you know, runs through the body up to the chest, up to the mouth, and goes down to the feet, and divides the body in 3 aspects. Yeah? Also the abdomen, the chest, and the face. Yeah? So you find abdominal problems, you find chest problems, you find face problems. Lots of other things you could add here, I have. Yeah? A lot of things are there because the chongmai is connected to it. So don't start with that. So if you have certain abdominal problems and you find it is related to the spleen or related to the relationship of stomach and spleen, then of course you can use that. When you feel that it's in the pulse, is available to treat, then do it. But if it is constant and chronic and constitutional, you can think about, well, maybe I can check the chongmai first. Now, these are the psycho-emotional pathologies you can see how, when and how to treat spleen 4. This is from phlegm obstructing the heart. This is important. What is meant by that? When the spleen doesn't function well, it means that there is damp. There's too much damp. There should be always damp. Without damp, we don't function. There should be damp. But if there's accumulation of damp or accumulation of phlegm, it eventually will obstruct the heart. How do we see that? We see that because people don't make the choice anymore what is good for them, what inspires them. The heart has to do with inspiration, intuition, that you know this is my path. And there are never 2 pathways. There's only one path. Yeah? And your intuition tells you this is my path. So when that is obstructed, people just doubt what they do. Should I go for that job or should I go for that job? Or even should I work or should I stay home? Or I have this boyfriend, but I like that one. I don't know what to do. These kind of things, that is something which has to do with the spleen as such. And the phlegm obstructing the heart. You don't have the inspiration, intuition to choose your own path, but you depend on the environment that affects your emotional level, and so then spleen 4 comes into mind. This is a very typical one, feel sorry for themselves. That's a very typical spleen 4 issue. Yeah, the spleen has to do with you inside, with the most inner energy, and gives you stability. When the spleen energy is okay, it gives you stability, there's kind of self-knowledge, you're at ease there. So when you feel sorry for yourself, it means there is no strength there, there's no postnatal chi there. You don't nourish yourself, there's no growth, there's no change or transformation possible, because you're stuck. There are two options when psychological or emotional things go wrong: or it's stagnated, or you create chaos. There's nothing in between. Or there's chaos and you lose yourself, or there's stagnation and you're stuck. Both can happen with the spleen. Yeah? Like here, a mania or raving, insomnia, usually it has to do with chaos. And the other end is blocking, yeah? Stagnation. Yeah? That leads to, for instance, this phlegm obstructing the heart. And it's like a river. Yeah? When you go into a river and there's a flow in the center of the river, you can fight for your life to go to the shore, and then you probably lose it. Yeah? Then you become chaotic, or you just freeze. I don't know how to come there, and you drown. Yeah? So, but go with that flow, and then you're able to live your life. Yeah? And the more we fight, the more we emotionally react to the world, instead of feeling what's happening inside, the more we create more damp and more phlegm. Now, looking at these psycho-emotional problems treated by spleen, you will see they match very much the psycho-emotional imbalance of chong. No backbone. I have to explain this, no backbone. And maybe I'm a bit ahead now, but the chong mai starts somewhere in the lower jiao. We'll discuss that later. But from the lower jiao, it has two trajectories, more than two, but two main ones. One is going from stomach 30 up the abdomen, up to the kidney area, and then it goes here up, and then it goes to the mouth. That is the yin trajectory. The yang trajectory actually goes from that area, I call it the kidney area, and it goes up to the back of your spine. On the inside of the spine it goes up. It meets, for instance, the kidney tender muscular meridian there. So there's a yang aspect, there's a yin aspect. Now, I want you to visualize something for me. When there's a newborn baby and your mother, you are a mother, you take the baby in your hand like this, and you hold the baby against you with the tummy, with the chest, and the face is sucking the nipple of the breast. And you hold your hand on the back of the baby, and you hold your hand on the buttocks. That is chong mai, ren mai, making contact, du mai, protected. That's the first thing you do. So when the baby is born and all the energy comes alive, you as a mother figure, you help the development of these meridians. And then when the baby grows old, it starts to raise his head. That is du mai, to look into the world, to be able to oversee the world. The first, this is me. So I look up, and this is me. So that's the action of du mai. And then it starts to roll. So to change the activity of ren mai and du mai. So from that chong mai, ren and du develop. Yeah? And no backbone has to do with that yang trajectory of Chongmai, but also with the evolution of Renmai and Dumai from Chongmai. Yeah? Some classics even say it's one meridian. The Chongmai, Renmai, Dumai is actually one meridian. So no backbone, no desire for life. I think I've explained that. This is important. No courage for asking for help, because they don't have that backbone. They don't ask for help. A lot of depression of Chongmai onset actually come to you by the partner or the child or a friend. They say, listen, could you please treat my mother? Could you please treat my partner? Because they don't have the courage. So don't start with Chongmai, because if they don't have the courage, it means also that the kidney area is weak. So before you work on Chongmai, start working on the prenatal and postnatal chi to build that energy before you open Chongmai. They must be able to use the energy of Chongmai, and that starts with the prenatal chi. Usually, the first sign of a psycho-emotional imbalance is that when people are too shy. People can be shy, that's no problem. But if they're too shy, they are not able to interact with social, how do you call it? Interaction. They're too shy, they don't want to be there. That's the beginning often of a Chongmai psycho-emotional imbalance. So these are the names, all kind of names for Chong. These two lines, or these two outside characters, is actually the same as the Wuxing, the transformation, the moving of what we call 5 transformations. So this is Xing, these two. Not 5, but this is Xing. So this is transformation, change. So what does it move? It moves, as I said before, Jing of your constitutional level into postnatal chi through a free passage. It's strong, it penetrates through the membranes, it penetrates through the muscles, it penetrates through everything. So it is passing, and it's strong from your constitutional level. So that is fundamental to understand that. So to work on the prenatal chi, to bring it to the postnatal chi, points come in mind like stomach 30, spleen 10, spleen 1, liver 1. These are all points, and we will discuss a few of them later, which bring this prenatal chi into postnatal chi. But first of all, this area has to be strong. This is the area of Bao Zong. This is the kidney area, as we call it. Not the kidney, but the kidney area. Yeah? So often when people have these kind of problems, as we discussed before, you start with building the energy in the lower jiao by moxa, by massage, by sometimes herbs, to build the kidney area energy, the lower jiao energy, before you start working on Chongmai. Some people say you should work on kidney. I don't believe that works. You really have to work on that area as such. So You see in Ling Shu chapter 65, they say it starts at the uterus. In Ling Shu chapter 38, it starts at stomach 30. In chapter 62, in Ling Shu, CV1. In the Neijing, CV4. Bao Zong, kidney, lower dantian. These are all kind of areas and points where they describe where the chongma actually starts. That's strange, isn't it? We talk about one energy. But they are all true, because they all describe different qualities of chongmai. So sometimes it has to do more with blood, sometimes it has to do with the creation, sometimes it has to do with the energies of the three jiaos, and so on. Yeah? So it is true, all of them. Now again, I come back to birth. So what happens when you are born? So when you are born, the umbilical cord is cut, or maybe later, I mean not quickly, but the first thing you do, you breathe in. So you breathe in. And then the kidney energy, or actually the kidney area energy, grasps that lung qi and roots it into the kidney area. So remember, conception, the first 3 months is not with your yuan qi. Your mother protects you. After that there is yuan qi, there is jing qi. There's no destiny yet. It continues, you are born, and that moment the kidney energy grasps the lung qi, your destiny is defined. The way you come to the destiny is not through the kidney, it's more through the hun. But the rooting of the cosmic qi with your own qi, from your father, your mother, and so on, with the jing, is rooted into the kidney area. And that's where the chongmai starts. So the chongmai also has to do with your destiny. So sometimes, especially when people are, for instance, stuck in the lung energy, imagine there is a blockage here in the lung energy because of emotional trauma. You find this often, there's a blockage in here. And you find that they don't know what to do in their life. They don't have that backbone, or they don't find their destiny. They're too shy to look at that. By building that kidney area and opening chongmai helps them to go through the difficult decisions they have to make. This is my pathway, because there is only one pathway. There are never two or three. So this is the kidney area. And here you see part of it goes up, like here, and part of it goes here to the inside of the vertebral column. So also when people are weak in that active aspect, this yang aspect of chongmai, they suffer from low back pain. Yeah? Or they have a weird way of standing, like this way. They don't have any pressure, they push their legs to the back and they just stand like that. Young girls have that. 13 years, yeah, they stand with their feet more like this. Feet with the knees backwards, and they have the back of the lower back like that. It's a very common posture of young girls. That's when the chongmai is not filled yet. So they're ready for maybe the menstruation, but the chongmai is not really active, not really strong yet. Yeah? And this has to do with that activity of knowing your path, looking to the world. As I said, the baby raises his head. This is my position. That's the world. So when it grows older, even the back starts to come up. Yeah? Sitting, lying like this, yeah? And it looks up. Yeah? That is dumai, but also part of chongmai, especially this part. Yeah? Till what time do we have actually? Till 1 o'clock. Good. Bao means uterus. For men, it's called Palace of Jing. Bao Zong is mentioned as the start of Chong Mai. I don't know if you have learned a lot about Bao Zong in your... Not much. Some people do. Bao Zong is an area. Of course, it is related to the uterus. It is related to the Palace of Jing, to the semen. Of course it does. But it is an area. It is an energetic area which finds its form, for instance, in the uterus. But it's an energetic area, and I'm talking about that because it's very important to understand Chong Mai. The relationship from the kidney to Bao Zong is through Bao Luo, and there is the heart and the pericard which interact with Bao Zong. It means that, for instance, when the period starts, Chan Gui fluids, heavenly fluids called. Gui is the same as the 10th heavenly stem, related to kidney. Tian Gui is the heavenly fluid starts to move. That's the beginning of menstruation. Is influenced by the kidney, and of course you know that the uterus has a lot to do with the liver, but most of the time people forget about the heart. The heart governs the blood, and it interacts with the kidney through Bao Zong. If there's heart insufficiency, so the heart energy can't descend to Bao Zong, there is no menstruation. There's even possibility for infertility, or there's leukorrhea. But things like that can come from the heart energy. And of course you should diagnose through pulse diagnosis, tongue diagnosis, meridian diagnosis, and so on, what's going on with the heart, and treat accordingly. But you see signs of heart insufficiency, sometimes through insomnia, sometimes by there is no inspiration, sometimes there is no shen in the eyes. You can see lots of signs in the body where you can see the heart is insufficient. So I put down the pericard here as well because it has a lot to do with the relationship of heart and pericard. And the pericard, it is the protector of the heart. So the pericard defends you from attack from the outside world. So when there is something really severe going on, the pericard becomes tight. So when the pericard is not tight or is very insufficient, the heart is very open and undefended. But you're very intuitive. That's through the heart. So the more the pericard is tight, the less intuitive you are. Because you don't have contact anymore with your heart. So it's very important to balance this first. So it can then interact with Bao Zong. So the relationship of heart and kidney into Bao Zong area is the physical foundation of the origin of Chong Mai in your body. So Xiao Yin, heart, kidney, together with pericard. The relationship of these two meridians is fundamental before you treat Chong Mai on this level. So starting with Chong Mai, or starting to treat Bao Zong, when there is still an insufficient balance or an insufficient cooperation or integration of heart and kidney, doesn't make sense. It took me a lot of years to understand that Dr. van Buren, when I visited him in clinic, he treated patients with low back pain with heart, like heart 3, heart 7. I thought, why? Why are you doing that? What is the relationship to this? And you can't ask why to Dr. van Buren. You have to come with an answer, and then he says yes. And then you still don't know if you're right. Because he didn't say no often. So you really have to find out yourself. And so later I discussed this with him and we had a talk about it. But to work with heart works very much on the lower back. When it goes together with these heart insufficiency symptoms, then you can work on heart points to create a proper balance in Baozong as a foundation for the movement of Chongmai. It is the background, is in ourselves is the heart of the kidney. The heart represents heaven, fire, consciousness. The kidney represents the water, the source. And actually they are similar, only from a different perspective. As you remember, I said when there is this and that, there is no unity. They actually have a similar quality of energy. But in ourselves, we separate them. But in alchemy, the heart and the kidney actually are similar in quality, but seen from a different perspective. This is why they both relate to love, for instance. The moment they come together in Baozong, it's a creative moment. I need some water to speak, to use my fire. Baozong, the origin of life, Chongmai is related to Dumai. This is the hexagram of Dumai. You find here the 4 virtues of heaven. When you read the I Ching, you will see that the first 4 words of the I Ching are Yuan Heng Li Zhen. These are 4 words which come back in the I Ching quite often. And these are the 4 virtues of heaven. And the archetypes, actually, of the 4 cardinals, or even the 5 transformations. So the 4 virtues is, Joan has to do with your creative force, like springtime. Heng has to do with your everything which is inspired. It is like flourishing of the summer. Li has to do with beneficial force, which is in autumn, to gather the harvest. And Zhen has to do with the water. It is the rooted energy in yourself, the upright energy comes from there. The Zhangqi comes from the water. It is separating what's not needed anymore and collected what is needed inside yourself for a new cycle. So what this describes is actually time through the seasons. So the moment Chongmai starts from Baozong, there is time, and we have this conflict of outside-inside, of is it spring, is it summer, is it autumn, and so on. It is not okay to talk about the 4 virtues further in this course now, because it's a long subject, belongs to stems and branches, but it describes the beginning of time and the beginning of your position into the world. And the mirror of that, besides the Chong and Dumai, and then the mirror of that, actually we work more with that. We work more with the abdominal trajectory of Chongmai and Renmai. They have to do with these words: sincerity, trustworthiness, nourishing, and nurturing. Nurturing is something which defines us as human beings. Nourishing, still animals. Nurturing is really something which belongs to human beings. And that is through, remember, the child with the abdomen and the chest and the mouth. It's nourishing and nurturing. You activate the renmai with the chongmai. So it is receiving and responding. It sounds like it is inactive. Responding, it sounds like, okay, I'll wait till something comes. But it's the opposite. It's the yin way of being active. You always are awake. There is peace, stillness. It's a sacred moment always. And the moment you can use that, you will come in active modi. Active. You come to be initiative. You become initiative. You initiate yourself. So this describes very much the quality of chongmai and renmai is being here and now. That's chong and renmai. Dumai is much more in time. And in this society, we tend to emphasize the dumai. What time is it? What are we going to do? When is my train? Etc., etc. What is on the agenda tomorrow? That's dumai. Become better, have more money, become stronger, quicker, whatever. That's all dumai. The awareness, the awakeness of yin, to be open at this moment, that's the quality of responding. That when you put a seed in the ground, the earth doesn't hesitate to provide it with minerals and water so that it can grow. Yeah. That quality of yin, being awake in peace, not disturbed, till movement is necessary, is very much chong and renmai. This picture I took lately, to see in nature how this is the yin aspect, allowing that yang to develop in a very nice way. Here, this is very nicely the 5 elements, you could say. Yeah. But also here, you see this very much, this is yang, this is active. And this allows it, that it can happen. It's supportive, nourishing, nurturing. So I go back to this one. Infertility has a lot to do with chongmai and dumai. So in this side of your back, on the inside of your back, is this yang trajectory of chongmai. There it meets the kidney TMM, tender muscular meridian. So therefore, in infertility, you have lots of formulas and so on, but when you do pulse diagnosis, you treat accordingly. You will find often there's a reason to treat chongmai, there's a reason to treat abdominal points, but when you add a point like kidney 1, the TMM kidney 1, on the inside of the little toe, that will invigorate the action of what's happening here in Bao Zong at the back. So when people are infertile and they don't have this action, this quality of looking into the world, I am here, you're there, and we communicate. I have my position, this is my drive, I have a backbone. If they don't have that, and they are infertile, then you can add points like kidney 1 to bring that back, to bring back the energy without using dumai, just chongmai. And of course, you can add then abdominal points. Yes, please. Yeah, that's the TMM point of kidney TMM. Yeah. Tender muscular meridian. Yeah. And of course, it all depends on your diagnostic skills. But when you see that there's need for let's say, this kidney TMM and this backbone, then it works very fine. I did it a few times, not few times, often. And it really can transform a lot of things. Yeah. Okay. So it starts at the lower abdomen genitals. These are all points. These we will discuss, these points. Up to kidney 21, up to the face, down to the feet via stomach 13, kidney 11. We will discuss these 2 points, stomach 13, kidney 11, very much. So we will see that when it goes down to the feet, it meets lots of other meridians, like yin chong mai, yang chong mai, kidney lower meridian, kidney TMM. Yeah. These are all, chong mai is going to your foundation. And it goes up to kidney 21. And then it's very strange, it goes up here to the chest. These are very, very special points. Because the kidney exit point is kidney 22. There, kidney 21 is the hidden gate, the hidden kind of energy. Some Taoist people say that the spirit enters through kidney 21 on the front. It's a gate where the spirit can enter and also can leave. The gate is open to both sides. So in that hidden quality, in the abyss of kidney, after kidney 22, it goes to pericard 1. That is where life starts. Yeah? Pericard starts to function when you are born. Before you are born, there is no pericard energy. So when you are born and you take your first breath, the heart changes from open chambers to 4 chambers. And there is a separation of left and right. The liver changes in quality. And so the pericard starts to function. So when it goes from kidney 22 to pericard 1, it means you go for a life. You start to live a life. But what happens here? What are these points? They belong to chong mai. And they are similar to the back shoe points. They even have the same kind of quality, but we'll discuss that in a minute. So first of all, you see the chest, kidney channel, abdomen, kidney channel, legs, feet, face. This is the trajectory of chong mai. So you see it goes to all the 3 jiaos. So when you want to work on the face, then you have to add points to direct the energy to the face, or to the abdomen, or to the chest. Maybe we go first to this one. Kidney 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. This is the sequence of the back shoe points. You think about it. Bladder 23, bladder 20, bladder 18, bladder 15, bladder 13. This is a kind of dead-end street, isn't it? Kidney goes to pericard, and then you have this dead-end street. Yeah. And these points of chong mai and kidney, they have a specific effect on these organs. On these organs. And you could combine it with the back shoe points of the bladder, but not necessarily. It's more like when there is a yin problem, this is also from the classic, but also from some teachers, when there's a yin problem, you should act on the back shoe point on the bladder meridian. When there's a yang problem, you should act or treat more one of these kidney meridians, or kidney meridian points, kidney 22 till kidney 26, to work through the 5 zhang to the yang. Through the heart to the 3 heater, small intestine. Through the liver to the gallbladder. I remember I discussed this with Jeffrey Joan quite a long time ago, and he actually placed the kidney shoe points more to the inside, more close to the sternum. And when you palpate, you will feel there sometimes are nodules, sometimes there's weakness, but you will feel which point you can use. So we normally take it here, more to the outside, but Jeffrey takes it more to the sternum. And usually it's more painful when it's needed. Yeah? And kidney 27 is it's called shoe storehouse. And many people think it has to do with the back shoe points. But it has to do with these shoe points, these kidney points, this dead-end street. Yeah? Here life starts. So what is this area? It is the area of the chest, the area of the lungs, of the heart. This is where the kidney energy is. Does that ring a bell if you think about lung and heart? You think about the lung chi is grasped by the kidney. And think about heart and kidney coming together to create a proper foundation for Bao Zong. So these points in this dead-end street actually are very strong through one of these organs to build that Bao Zong area. And often you use kidney 25, but also kidney 24 is possible because that has to do with the uterus. The blood in the uterus is governed by the liver. Or when we think about kidney 26, it has to do with your Po, with how is your defense mechanism, how are you formed, how strong are your bones. Bones are white, is Po. With the spleen, for instance, has to do with your digestive system, with your inner self. So when these aspects are not strong, you can use these points to build, through these points you can build Bao Zong. As the 5 energies creating a kind of circle around Bao Zong. I made once a picture with the 5 elements around Bao Zong and the movement of Chong Mai coming from there. And kidney 27 is the shoe storehouse. It affects Chong Mai, of course, but it tonifies the yin, especially in men. It tonifies that aspect, that inner aspect of Bao Zong. Yeah. And so when people have problems with breathing or they have asthma, often you use kidney 27, sometimes with CV22. Yeah? So what actually are you doing? You root the lung energy when you do that. With CV22, you bring the energy to the spleen. It's a meeting point of the spleen. You open up the blockage between the head and the thorax, but you root it into the spleen. And with kidney 27, you use these 5 points. It's the storehouse of all these shu to bring it back to the kidney area. So you root the energy, so there is possibility for breathing again. Yeah. And again, think about what I said before. Is if it is a Chong Mai problem, chronic, constitutional, then you can do this vibration technique of spleen 4, combine it with kidney 27 and, for instance, CV22. Then you use the Chong Mai energy to root it. Yeah. And you don't have to open Chong Mai. Of course you could. If there's a lot of stomach issues or there are more breathing problems, then you can add points like heart constrictor 6 as the couple point. But you don't have to. That's not classical. Classical actually is before the Ming dynasty. They didn't open that often. The vessel that passed from kidney 27 to CV23, we don't discuss so much this point. The only thing I can say is that CV23, at this moment I can say, there's a lot to say about CV23, is a point for transformation. especially if you don't know how to bring in, how do you say that? Everything is there to make the move to the next step. The next step is there, but you can't do it. You can speak about it, maybe you can think about it. Emotionally, you're ready to do it, but you're not able to transform to the next step. You don't do it. You just don't. But you have people like that. They say, I want to study psychology. And everything is there. They have the right education. And they can't. They're just too shy to do that. Or they feel, oh, lots of things going on. I have children, and I have to take care of my house and my friends. And when I start to study, I don't have time for everything anymore. That's the time to root them, bow down, and then do Kidney 27 and CV23. And they will open up. They will speak forward. They will do it. Yeah? Not just because of the treatment. When the treatment is at the right moment, then that person has the ability to do it. And that's, I think, the secret of acupuncture. We don't do anything with our patients. We open the doors, and it's up to them to change or to transform or to do something with that. So we open that door that you can speak out your opinion, you follow your intuition, and you make the step to say yes. And if you find the right moment to do that, and the right technique, then you open that door, and they suddenly see, okay, I go for it. That's CV23. Yeah. Yes, that's normally what I do. Yes, yes, yeah. Not bilateral. No. Where were we? Hmm? Women on the right and man on the left. If you want to find this trajectory of Renmai here and the chong mai and the back, you can find it in chapter 65 of the Ling Shu. It's very much detailed described. So here you find the 3 levels, yeah? And this is properly governed by Yin Wei Mai. The Yin Wei Mai harmonizes the yin areas, the yin spaces. And so you find Pirikad 6 as the opening point of Yin Wei Mai and also couple point. Because as you see, the Chong Mai runs through these 3 areas as well. And so Yin Wei Mai says, okay, we harmonize it immediately as well. This is why it's the opening point or the couple point of Chong Mai. Yeah? So when you do that as a couple point, you use it on the other side. So for women, you use it on the left, and for men, you use it on the right. That is, according to not the classics, but only much later, Li Shichen, and 17th century, that opens the activity of Chong Mai. And I do it sometimes like that, but often I just add another point. It's very possible that you use points like Lung 7 or Lung 3. If you think about when you use spleen 4, you ask for the Chong Mai energy. You add Lung 3, what happens? What happens is that you open, it's a window of sky point. You open the quality of the cosmic chi to interact with your body, and vice versa. So imagine you do that with spleen 4 as a Chong Mai point. Chong Mai has that in itself, this prenatal, postnatal bridge. So when you do like Lung 3, you ask the heavenly chi to come in to take care of your, let's say, human energy, to make it postnatal. It's a kind of pre-treatment for the postnatal chi. So the next treatment, or even the same treatment, you could do Lung 4 with it. Lung 4, balances the heart constrictor, heart and lung energy in the chest. So imagine you do spleen 4, lung 3 and 4 on the other side. You ask the body to create a proper energy in the chest. From the cosmic point of view, from the prenatal point of view. Lung 3 and 4. But as I said before, it is related to 3 heater 5. It's a lower point, so it has to do with blood, has to do with emotions. But it's very possible these people are emotionally quite stable. So sometimes you don't use period card 6, but you use 3 heater 4. As I said before, even stomach 42 and 3 heater 4 work on chong mai and ren mai. They nurture, they nourish. It helps for people who have studied that before, the internal duct of the 3 heater. So the digestive system. So even combinations of spleen 4, stomach 42, and 3 heater 4 instead of period card 6 will work on chong mai. So don't be too strict in your brain like chong mai, spleen 4, period card 6. That is for, let's say, people who are not safe with themselves. So when your diagnostic tools are developed in a way that you understand the patient, you make a contact with your patient, you can see at this moment there's much more sense to do 3 heater 4 than period card 6. It resonates with CV17. That's also very important because this is the house of the chong qi. And also the chong qi develops from birth on. So when the energy is rooted in the kidney area, lung energy is grasped to the kidney area, and your destiny is defined, then the chong qi opens up in the chest. So again, that is period card 6. So when CV17 is blocked or not developed, that is often because of phlegm of the heart. It's like, sometimes in the classic it's described as a, let's say you are in a glass house, like windows everywhere. You stand in a glass house. This is you as this being looking outside. And all is actually covered by phlegm. So you don't see the world as it should be, because you can't see it. And so that is often described as is social incompetent. Yeah? What we now call often, how do you call it, PDD-NOS, like, what's the name of it? Autism, yes. One part of autism has to do with this phlegm on this glass house. Yeah? So you're not able to communicate. You're not able to interact. You're not able to integrate. That is a chong qi CV17 problem. And so you have to see, where does it come from? Is it inherited? Then you think of chong mai. Is it something which is not inherited but just came through life? The pregnancy was okay, the birth was okay, but after a while you saw there is autism. That could be done by just phlegm in the spleen, by vaccination, by long-term diseases, poor diet, and then you create a postnatal autism. So you don't have to treat every autism with chong mai. But if it is inherited, yes, of course you have to treat that bridge from prenatal to postnatal, and to open up the chest by period card 6, and to cleanse the phlegm in the heart. Yeah. Let's go over it. This is quickly, you see it harmonizes the yin space. Is very much related to yin wei mai, heart, circulation, endocrine, abdomen. These are the yin spaces, and you will see lots of pathologies here, circulation, endocrine, and abdomen. will be after the break. You will see there are many different texts from different books. Really, if you study this, you will find lots of different texts about chong mai. And so we will discuss, after the break, we will discuss more the stomach 30, kidney 11, and some points here on the abdomen related to the stomach area to go into the energetics and how to treat that. Okay, any questions still?
Saying about autism, so you can really, really help people with autism? Trying to get population?
Yes, I would say yes. I do treat people with autism, but it is a garbage bin of autism. There's so many types of autism. They usually have one name. This is autism.
Yes, I mean,
It doesn't make sense. There's so many ways to treat that.
you've seen a lot of positive results.
Oh, definitely. And it takes a long time. As I said, you have to be patient. And if it is, especially if it is inherited, then it's a chronic disease, constitutional disease. You have to start with the prenatal treatment, and you have to start with your chong mai to bring it into postnatal chi. But definitely I've seen quite a lot of patients where they still have autism. You change that so quickly, but they're able to function, they're able to do social activities and so on. They feel more happy, they're less all over the place, they know how to find peace in themselves. All these things is possible with acupuncture, definitely it is. Yeah. But that's a subject on its own, how to treat that. Like the opposite of bladder 67, on the inside. Yeah? On the inside of the little toe. So, like bladder 67, kidney 1 on the other side. Okay? Hopefully we see each other in half an hour. Yeah? Okay.